From the creators of...
Is it an invasion, a liberation, an occupation? If you're French, you say, n'allez là. That means don't go there. If you're Israeli, you say go there. If you're any other country, you say, I don't know, I want to help America. I don't know what to decide. If I could deal with these starving people in my country, I'd love to get on your side. The people that are against it say Iraq has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. But even if Saddam Hussein wasn't directly involved in 9/11, you know that son of a bitch laughed when he heard about it. Oh. Now, as I said before, Saddam Hussein is the first guy to wear a yellow suit and a mustache since I think it was the Steve Harvey Showtime special in '93. That's not the point. Who cares about that? Should we be going to Iraq, yes or no? Let's hear some answers.
Yes.
Why?
Why? We should be in Iraq, we should be in Iran, we should be in Saudi Arabia. Every country where you can make $1 million being a bikini waxer.
All right. How about you, fella? You said yes, too.
Yes, absolutely we should be in there, man.
Okay.
Revenge.
Yes. Payback.
Payback, that's it.
Do you think 9/11, you think there's some Al-Qaeda connection there?
Of course.
I don't know. I mean, $100 billion on a war when all you need is $2 to put a bullet in Saddam Hussein's bean and spend the rest on the after party, baby.
Sure, but look, have you noticed? They should kill him. They should kill him themselves. Don't you think the Republican Guard should just say, look, Saddam, there's nothing personal, but this is getting serious, and blast them?
You tried doing
Well, you have to force
like
them.
what I did the gun.
Who's going to have people kill their own people? You just
Why
can't
not?
do that, man.
It happens all the time.
Well, that's coming from him, a black guy.
But that's what I'm saying. You
Go to
can't.
your project, we'll have 10
But
cases
leaders,
of the law.
no leaders. I'm not talking about the. Well, they're killing each other. The Lord, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to make a
but
joke
you
out of.
can't-
I not only knew you mean, I said it first, but go ahead.
Well, you can't. You know, if I didn't like Al Sharpton, I wouldn't have him killed because he's black. So they can't kill Saddam because they're Saddam them.
Well, we know when you let. We knew that. We knew that when you let OJ off. Now listen,
Yeah,
how
this is
about
why
you?
OJ wasn't guilty, right? It's the same
Get him,
thing.
Jim. Who's
Yeah.
sticking to him?
But who's going to have the balls if you're in a room with Saddam to make the first move? You know what I mean?
That's true.
Are you going to do that and
Plus, you
nobody
might-
backs you up?
And
Then
I'm
what are you
sure
going to
people
do?
thought that they should have killed
Thank
Hitler.
you. The director got
They
that.
tried to kill Hitler.
I mean, their own people, but it's hard for you to kill your own people.
It's ridiculous. The whole country hates the guy.
We should keep war where it belongs, Compton.
It's black people only understand this, man.
You know what though? But they've been framing the debate so that if you disagree with this, then you're un-American. You know,
That's not true.
It's the truth,
No,
Jimmy.
but I criticized George Bush in my show, and somebody after the show said I was a commie liberal pinko faggot who deserved to die.
Yeah, that was your
and
manager.
I thought, I don't deserve to die.
Don't you think when you look at when you listen to them, don't you think yes?
Oh, shut up, Jabba the comic.
He looks like he'd be sitting.
What are you, table for 8? Look at you.
Go on, Paulin. And it's in the square.
All right, let me ask you something serious. A lot of people say if we attack Iraq, we're going to increase terrorism. Do you think it's an increase or decrease it?
It's not going to either. I mean, terrorism's always going to be there. It's not like if we don't go in there, Al-Qaeda's going to downsize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many terrorists do you think there is, man? What do you think there's a whole country? There's only a couple of dudes, man. It's a gang. They caught the dude that looked like Joey Buttafuoco, and they said that whole thing is finished. And Saddam's, I mean, the other dude is around the corner, the Bin Laden dude. So I mean, whatever, man. We got to destroy something, right? Remember, listen, man.
Yeah.
Remember, okay, World War II. Wait a minute, there, sweetness.
Say what you want.
He's all excited to get out his ad-lib written jokes. Now, look, here's what I'm saying. In World War II, right, we bombed the Asians, right?
The Japs.
The Japanese
We didn't hit the other.
Listen, will you listen to me?
No.
Here's what I'm saying. Let me finish. They bombed the Japanese, right? And
You think you're Cornel West?
well, now listen to me. Another nice Negro.
That was a
Listen
good
to
one,
me.
wasn't it?
But we've been gangsters for the last 50 years after that. So we gotta
Gangsters or gangsters? Who are you talking about right now?
well, I'm on a white show, so it's an ER. So look, we
Folks,
bombed
I'm
them,
trying.
and we've been gangsters for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
So we got to do something atrocious
To let people know.
so we can be running stuff for the next 50 years. So we cannot let them get away with them. When I say them, whoever did it, after they flew the planes in the building, people were watching. You gotta smack them down, and then we can relax for the next 50 years. That's all I'm saying.
This is like getting a history lesson from Belushi in Animal House. We killed some Asians.
The truth of the matter is, though, look.
Nice to be on your show, by the way. Thanks.
Right now.
Jesus Christ.
Man.
It was a very long
Shut up.
for a short
Listen.
turn.
Well, you cut me off. Go ahead.
Who? I am?
Not you, sir.
You know, guys, I really feel that, what about Saddam Hussein? Let's talk, what happens if we don't go? What's going to happen?
We bombed France.
Well, should we bomb France, or should they just mind their business?
Well, he wants to bomb somebody. He wants to go in so bad
But
he
it's
can't
not,
stand it.
no, it's not Bush, it's just war lust. That's ridiculous. That's too simple, you know what I mean? But I'm saying, do you think, for example, we have to get a bunch of these countries on our side, like there's a lot of countries left over, that we do have to get on our side. Do you think we should just go in and quit? They got their own interests. I mean,
look at the coalition they've got. They've got Britain, they've got Spain, they've got Bulgaria. That's not a coalition, that's a circle jerk.
At the same time, this isn't the first time that Europe has been passive while a Jew-hating tyrant with a weird-looking mustache, who kills his people by giving them gas. Obviously, I'm talking about Chef Boyardee. Never again.
I knew it.
Never
do my
again.
history
You're
lesson.
blaming it on my people.
Now
Yeah,
listen.
it's all you. What happened to her?
Who do we have to get on our side? What countries? Cameroon? Who we got?
Cameroon,
Oh, geez.
Guinea.
Don't piss them off.
You can speak to Guinea for us, don't you think?
Absolutely. I don't know what that meant to you,
Why do we
Irishman.
even need permission? I don't know.
We don't, that's the whole thing, is all country is so weak now. Everyone's like, the public's not into it. The old days, they go, look, we're going, Roosevelt would say, look, a war started 2 days ago. You might have heard those bombs. That was us. You people can help by minding your own business and shutting your traps.
Right.
You know what? I don't know, though. I mean, the whole our way or the highway,
What's wrong with that?
it just bothers me. I mean,
Why
it's like
does that bother?
because there's the whole world, or, you know what I mean? There's the
Yeah,
whole
but
world
they,
to
obviously
consider.
they have their own interests, just like we do.
I mean,
Everyone's looking out
if
for
the
themselves.
UN, I mean, some people say the UN is like a battered wife. The bitch just don't listen. You know what I mean? So, I mean, are we going to have to pay attention to it, or what are we going to do? I mean, are we totally alone?
All right, let me tell you something. First of all,
Who said that? Ike Turner?
what's that? Oh, let me tell you one thing. I don't want this to turn into some anti-Arab versus America thing, okay? That's why we say evildoers, because we want to keep it vague. That's the politically correct way to say evildoers, just people that do evil. But I don't like people burning American flags over there. You want to start that with us? All right, listen. Next time I see American flag burn on TV, I got a picture of Casey Kasem. I'll burn it right here. Casey, yeah, he's Middle Eastern, that's right. And it's not nice to throw scurrilous remarks around, but this son of a bitch is in it up to his ears. And I have proof, documented proof in my office. I'm going to bring it down. Casey, listen. Oh, he's an Arab. Now listen, Casey. If you're listening, I'd like you to come down to 26 Federal Plaza. No one's going to do anything to you. We just want to re-register you. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to talk about a subject that we really don't know that much about, sex education. That was a good one, Phil. Is it good in school, sex education? Is it good, bad, or a waste of time? Now, people have asked themselves the same thing about this show, but I don't want to talk about that right now. Be that as it may, let's talk about it. Is sexual education the responsibility of the parents? Should the schools interfere?
No, you should learn it in the streets, like everything else. In the alleyways and the gutters and the cars of life, baby.
Well said by a black man. Now look.
The streets really have a bad rap. Will you stop?
No, go ahead.
I was adding to this.
Pointing to them.
Yes.
All right, let me ask you
Can I
this.
ask you, what do you mean by interfere? If you mean teach them absence, that's one thing. But if it's like your physics teacher taking you to the Capri Motel at 4 in the afternoon, and you're sitting on your face until Jeopardy comes on, that's, maybe they should mind their business.
I think abstinence is good. They should cover all that stuff, but you should definitely not preach abstinence. There's that should be taught as an option. But if you really preach it, that's when the kids go crazy with sex. Have you ever heard of Catholic girls?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you should teach contraception and disease prevention and where to get good lube.
Again. Now we're talking about Catholic boys.
But I don't think parents really. I mean, like I said to my mommy, I said, "What does it mean when two people do it?" Yeah, mommy. When I was that big, I said, "What does it mean when two people do it?" And she said, "It means the macaroni and cheese is almost ready." I mean, they don't know what to say,
I think that's a pretty good metaphor, actually.
There you go.
What about this? Okay. In England, this is a good statistic, and you're an English expert.
Yes.
Over 100,000 kids under the age of 16 are in a program encouraging them to experiment with oral sex instead of intercourse. Should we try that here?
The only thing, it's England you're talking about?
Yeah.
The only thing oral they should be encouraging is hygiene. I mean, you ever see a chick's teeth from Liverpool? Looks like the rough at Augusta National. Again, trying to get the joke out with 8 people.
He knows my girlfriend's from Liverpool.
I know, he knows your girlfriend's from Liverpool. That's a direct attack.
If they're going to teach oral sex, they ought to teach technique.
Look what you know.
Because every one of us has had we've all had a bad Hummer.
Yes,
that's true.
Amen.
This girl.
I forgot.
Let me tell you, if parents, when you say learn it in the streets, I'll tell you a true story. Maybe this will spark something. When I was like 10, this is the greatest thing of all time. My friend's father used to, and he only went with the hottest girls. He would have them strip them naked and have me and my friends fool around with them, like make out with them and feel them up and everything, I swear to God. And I kept coming back like that night. My friends were like, hey, let's go watch what? I'm going to say, you nuts, we get like, you're crazy. So I kept coming back and bothering them all night. And the next day, my father had to come pick me up. And he goes, your son's really interested in sex. And then it was like dead silence for me and my father for like the whole walk home. Nothing. So, I mean, now do you think that was...
moving.
Thank you.
I'm crying inside.
Thank you, Jim. Maybe you can get me one of those Lucille Lortel downtown theaters of yours. Do a quick one-man show at Barrow Street, you son of a bitch. Now look. But don't you think that was actually healthy? Not the part where I was ashamed of it, but the part where we're actually doing it. Don't you think a guy like that is...
So you're saying your best friend's father's helping you get laid at like 12? That's healthy?
Not laid at 10. He was letting us fool around with this. I'm saying, I'm telling you a story with the greatest man who ever lived.
Yeah, obviously.
How did you guys learn about sex? Anybody have a little anecdote?
I was lucky.
You were lucky? What happened?
I had 3 older sisters, so, I was lucky because they were whores.
I was taught that, my mom said that it had something to do with the man planting the seed, so sex for me was always associated with yard work.
Yeah.
It's like I see a lawnmower and I go, oh my God.
That's right. How about you, fella?
I just had regular sex, man. I mean, nothing special. No thumbs in the butt and
I didn't ask.
If anybody has sex with you, sex with you, they have to find your genitalia first.
Ooh,
Be easier to find a Lindbergh baby.
Way to keep it contemporary.
Yeah, great.
Lindbergh, baby. I'm the only one who gets that. Go ahead.
The only advice I got about sex from my dad, he said, Nick, sex is like pizza. Even when it's bad, you still got to pay for it.
Well put. I guess that's the end of the round. The center square today, Mr. Jim David.
Yes.
And we'll be right back after this.
You may think...
Oh! Thank you. There's been a lot of negative press about Armageddon. Nothing? But when this ancient prediction finally comes true sometime next week, it'll give us a rare opportunity to get right with God. You might be meeting God sooner than you thought. So, since none of us really knows which God's going to be waiting for us, you better be prepared for all of them. First up is the notorious B-U-D, Buddha. You say the name, you immediately think of a religion that seems cool. But then you find yourself sitting in the lotus position with a couple of dysfunctional vegans who are only doing this because their learning annex instructor said it's a good way to meet singles. If you judge a religion on its teachings and not by the indentation its leader leaves in the sand, Buddhism may be for you. Hinduism is all about the reincarnation. I recently found out that in one of my past lives, I was a Roman transvestite. They called me Ben-Hur. Nothing? Ben-Hur, they said, Hindus have too many gods to pray to. That's the problem with them. When you want to switch, it's like changing doctors. You go to your elephant guard. He has to send the old charts over to your new guy. You know how long that takes? You call up the elephant, where's my charts? He's like, hey, I only got 2 hands. He said, I know, that's why I'm going Vishnu. He's got 11. I guess that joke would work better, I'm not an expert, if there were more than 2 hands on the Vishnu right there. There's only 4. I said 11. I was raised as a Catholic. And you can say what you want about us. People put all the blame on the priests. But when you're denied the godly pleasures of the flesh, and then a line of smooth young boys is kneeling in front of you with their mouths open, all right? That can bring out the French house music all night long in any one of us. Now, suddenly, Father Brian sashaying around the altar like Giselle Bundchen on the Milan runway. Father Flaherty's on the pipe organ blasting out, It's Raining Men. Nothing? All right. This brings us to the Jews. Everybody has an opinion on the Jews. They're like the blacks in the sense that when you choose to express that opinion, you shut the door first and lower your voice. The chosen people are guided by the teachings of the Torah and the Hollywood Reporter. Use caution around them with food. They tend to become agitated by it. The Jews are successful. They evoke a lot of anger in people, and it's still a debate whether they bring it on themselves or it's just good old-fashioned player hating. The tragedy of Israel is that if this thing goes off, they will be hit in a devastating attack that will leave their businesses, buildings, and housings decimated. The good news, they're covered for most of it. Islam is the Oakland Raiders of religion. There are many kinds of Muslims in the world, Sunnis, Shiites, and the Wahhabis. Now, not wannabes, I said Wahhabis, all right? How can I put this politely? The Wahhabis are the big newsmakers. On the positive side, the Islamics always take care of the poor. They're not materialistic as a rule, and they follow their religion closely. Hopefully not as close as the FBI follows it. But anyway, let's face it, nobody wants to stereotype a whole religion. But when you leave my church, they say, go in peace. And when you leave the mosque, they say, everybody with a knapsack, stick around. I got to talk to you about something. It's funny if you say knapsack instead of knapsack, by the way. If you're getting into comedy, we kid. But the truth is, if you want to jump on the Islamic bandwagon, just don't park it near a school. That's all I'm saying. Now, I know there were some... Wow. I know there's some fake intellectuals out there that say religion is the reason for all war. That's ridiculous. That's like blaming hip-hop for all the violence in music. Bad example. Religion is like anything else. Religion is corruptible like anybody else. In fact, like me, I'm corruptible. So send me $20 to the show, and if I die first, I'll put in a good word with you, with whoever's in charge. Thou shalt not change the channel, or I shall smite thee.
Think you're tough enough? Then click on this.
We live in a country where people are afraid to say how they really feel.
Go to the Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn website at ComedyCentral.com and post your opinion on the message board. If it's tough enough, Colin just might respond to you on his show.
Shut up!
ComedyCentral.com. Speak now or forever hold your...
Whoa! Hey, you guys should have seen us off panel. We were really funny. Look, it's not easy to talk to kids about sex, but can we really teach them today? Cable TV, the internet, by the time they're 12, they've already seen things that Larry Flint wouldn't allow in his garage. So here's your task. Take your experience and give the kid a sex talk. How about Patrice first?
Well, thank you, sir. My sex talk would be with my little girl, Sweetie. You know, I know it's not fair. If some little boy plays the piano at 6, he's Beethoven. If some 10-year-old retarded boy learns how to count matchsticks that fell on the ground, he's Rain Man. But when a 15-year-old girl likes to have sex, they call her a slut. And that's not what she should be called. Call what she really should be called, a prodigy. Keep striving, sweetie.
Okay, that was very inspirational, Sarah.
Sometimes a bird meets a bee. And the bird will put his penis inside the bee's vagina. At first, the bee is scared and uncomfortable, and the whole experience borders on devastation, but then eventually, despite that first encounter, or maybe because of it, the bee cannot get enough bird talk. Good night, sweetie.
Bird
Nick DiPaolo.
Speaking of bird
Nick DiPaolo.
Hey, we found the pulse of the audience. Lisa, my little girl, I'd like to talk to you about the birds and the bees. You see, the birds and the bees are different today than when I was your age. When I was a kid, birds used to stay in one nest, but today they jump from nest to nest, and that's how you get the West Nile virus, and that stuff will kill you. And well, as far as the bees go, there used to be only one kind of bee, but now there's something they call African bees. And if you bring one of them home, I'm going to kill you. Do we understand each other, sweetie? Sleep tight.
Jim, David. Jim, would you like to finish us off?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a euphemism.
Yeah, there you go. All right. I would say to my kid about the birds and the bees, or as my daddy called it, the sheep and the sharecroppers, eventually you'll learn for yourself that sex with commitment is the best, but sex without commitment is usually worth the cab fare. But I really don't know what to say to a kid about sex, except this is our little secret.
I'm not going to follow that. Folks, guess what? That's the show. I'm smarter to follow that. Thank you very much for coming. And stay tuned for, I don't know what's on next. It doesn't matter. All right.